High in the Rockies, where winter erases footsteps overnight and entire towns vanish without protest, there is a church that refuses to fall. No congregation. No pastor. Know him in decades. Just a small wooden chapel standing alone beside a forgotten road. As if waiting for someone who isn't coming back. Tonight, we open the file on the little church in the pines, the last survivor of a town swallowed by time. Stay through the halfway mark. Because there's something about this church locals still won't explain. A sound that should not exist at 9,000 feet in an empty valley. Salina, Colorado was once a mining town, hard, fast, and loud. But the church was the opposite. Built in the late 1800s, the little church in the pines was meant to soften the edges of a life carved from stone. Miners gathered under its wooden beams with hands still dusted in gold flakes. Families squeezed into narrow pews, their voices rising like smoke toward the rafters. It wasn't grand. And it wasn't rich either. But it was steady, a place to rest the soul in a landscape that showed no mercy. During spring floods, the creek beside the church roared until it drowned out conversation. More than once, a miner never came home. And when someone disappeared, the pastor rang the church bell, once for hope, twice for mourning. The sound echoed between the mountains for miles. One family claimed they heard the bell ring before the news reached town, long before anyone knew their son had been swept away. The pastor swore he never touched the rope that night. The mountains. Sometimes they rang it themselves. Inside the church, the choir loft held the town's stories. On winter evenings, singing drifted out of the open windows like lantern light, thin, warm, and humid. But one February, a blizzard cut the town off for days. When the storm cleared, snow covered the pews inside the chapel. Tracks led up to the choir loft. But none came back down. And in the rafters, they found something strange. Hymn books open to pages no one had rehearsed. The conductor said he heard humming as he entered, steady, low, absolutely certain. But the church was empty. Completely empty. And the snow showed only one set of footprints, his. By the mid-1900s, the mine dried up. Families moved down the mountain. Houses collapsed under snow. But the little church in the pines held its ground. The doors remained unlocked. Not by order. But because no one ever bothered to lock them. Travelers said the air inside always felt recently warmed, as if someone had just left. Candles stood melted in the holders, their wax fresh, though no one had lit them. And every so often, someone hiking the canyon reported hearing a bell when there was no wind. And no rope tied to the clapper. Today, the chapel leans slightly to the west, its paint peeled, its windows tired. But step inside. And the air changes. It holds warmth that doesn't match the altitude. A faint scent of pine oil. Lingers in the wooden floor. And visitors say the silence doesn't feel empty, it feels aware. Some hear footsteps in the choir loft. Others swear they hear pages turning. Behind the pulpit. And every year, without fail, someone hikes the canyon and claims to hear the bell ringing once. Twice. Then nothing. The bell rope rotted away long ago. The clapper froze in place. And yet, the sound still rolls down the mountain. The little church in the pines has no congregation. No pastor. No hymns. But it refuses to die. A sanctuary waiting for voices that may never return. If you're still listening, it means these places live on in you. Subscribe before the next forgotten story opens. This is Dark Atlas Files, The Little Church in the Pines, Salina, Colorado. Comment below if you know a place where silence remembers more than we do.